Good morning, everyone. Today is December the 16th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band. I do want to remind you that I am traveling. Wednesday will be the last morning report for the week. Nothing Thursday, nothing Friday. I may have something Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nothing, and then Friday again. I believe in terms of travel, I will be on a couple of different venues that won't allow for streaming, and I will greet you again from what I hope to be a sunny Geneva or maybe a sunny day in the Alps. We'll see. All right, let's jump right in. As we know, when we begin the week, we always want to look at the weekly formations, see what's going on here. First of all, a ton of positive momentum. Everyone's still thinking about the Santa Claus rally. We've held the weekly lows. Week before last, we dipped just below 60.27 and took off again. We're failing to break higher, so it tells us there is a range there, but you want to be a bit careful buying this breakout. If you do buy it, I would say you need to watch it very carefully. But as we can see, when momentum is this high and trend, which is the hull that we're taking a look at, when it's that high, we know that it's a dip buying formation. That being said, the dips can be pretty savage, but they do come into the buying area. And I've got the 30 EMA on the horizon here. I did have someone say, hey, you should try the 27. Listen, I just look for trend. It doesn't really matter, right? It's going straight up. And so that's really what we're looking for. So from a weekly formation, we're caught inside of the prior 2 weeks, holding above this area between 60.27 and 60.40. Dips remain buy zones, and Santa Claus rally due to start somewhere around the next 3 to 4 trading days. Depends. And you know what? Anything can happen. Any kind of savage dip is going to give us an opportunity to buy. But here's the thing. If you're looking for a long and it breaks this 60.20, wait for it to recover, see what the risk is below, and then take the trade. Don't buy it on the way down. Buy it on the way up. That's the stronger way to do it. If we look at the hourly formations, whoa. We can see the little mosh pit that we're in. We had a trend, a channel here that we are above, but continuing to test, right? And that is getting a little steeper. We do have lower highs. That's what you want to watch for. Does it break? And that's going to be somewhere around the 60.75 area. Pullbacks are buy zones. Value area low, 60.61. Watch it stabilize there. Flat VWAP, folks. So we easily could come down to the Globex low, which is that 60.50. Also liquidity at that 60.46. I'm looking for a potential double bottom that begins a bounce up, defines the risk, and allows me to take the trade long. If you're of the mind that this is a short, wait for it to breach the area and fail the pullback like this. It sets topping tails and then it breaks frontline support. All right, there we have it. Let's go to the NQ. First, we'll start with the weekly. NQ has been stronger of late than the ES, but you'll notice these rolling moving averages. They're strong, but trend is still a little wonky. And so as we move, take a look, we are holding this 21,680. Pullbacks into this area that bounce give us great opportunities to go long. If you're keen on taking the breakout, define your risk. We've got 21,908. We certainly anticipate them trying to test 22,000. Watch these zones, pullbacks. You know, if we could get a pullback into 21,200, 21,350, that would be such a sweet spot. But we don't know. And of course, this week, we've got the Fed, and I will be in the midst of might travel when the Fed releases. So it's going to be interesting to see how it resolves. Pull back, let them watch what they want to, and then move in for what's going on. Pullbacks are still buy zones. This is a buying formation. A lot of people talking about hedging. Look at momentum. Dips are buys. And we're still sitting in this very wide and strong channel, okay? Where would it be absolutely fantastic for an intraday buy? Coming down to 690 and watching it resolve. Look at how long it took to resolve here. If we have that kind of move down, it may take the same amount of time to pull back. So your first move should be into resistance. If this pulls back into resistance, let it come back again, holds the zone. You can take the long into resistance, take some profit. Don't let your longs hold on underneath this 690 area. You're going to run into trouble. All right. Is this a double topping formation? I don't think so. Right. Look at the slope. That's what gives you the dead giveaway. To me, they're headed to the top of this box, potentially even higher into the 22,000 area. If I get super messy and I draw Fibonacci here, looks like 22,026 is 1.5 times this range. Okay, pullbacks again. If it holds a very tight upside pressure event, pulling into Friday's VWAP close at 760 or so, gonna make a sweet spot. So watch these levels. 760, let it break and recover. Don't buy it on the way down, because if it's got a stiff move like this one, it's gonna cascade down. Let it resolve. Let patience be your friend here. It's super important. Let's get to the YM. YM looks very different on a weekly stage versus a monthly stage, or a daily stage, the 1 hour. We're very far from the 20 or 27, sorry. What we end up doing when we get this far away, we got a little reversion to the mean. Listen, the dollar continues to just really run. I don't know where it is against the Swiss franc, but certainly, again, I should know because I'm headed there. But a pullback is very likely to give us buying pressure. But if the dollar continues to rise, we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a problem with these big dogs and all issues that have a lot of international trade. It's going to make our goods much more expensive. Where is the support zone? Well, we tried to break the low of last week and bounced right off the edge. So to me, this is the do or die space. If it loses 43,779, here is the heavy congestion at 43,500, 200 points below, and then a big solid wick. Notice we've got 1, 2, 3, almost 4 weeks of a VWAP sitting at 42,656. We could move sideways to allow us to get closer to this moving average, or we could collapse much closer down into it. All right, here's the thing. If we bounce and we cannot get up over 44,000, I think that number's probably 44,130, we are going to have either sideways or more downside pressure. If we use the halfback formation, we get all the way up, halfback meaning half the size of the prior week. We get all the way to 44,266, and then we get a stall out, which could easily be the case. You want to be very careful there. You want to be very careful. Let's go to the hourly. Finally starting to flatten. I'm sorry, I have my lanai doors open, so forgive all the different noise, birds, etc. that you might be hearing. Look at this thing. I mean, still. But this, very much flattening. Not quite the curve here. Pretty flat. And so we're either going to have ourselves a break and sideways formation, and then a collapse, or a break, a little bit of sideways formation, and then a run up again into this 44,266. Where's an ideal buy? You know, I still like it around 43,750. 80, that might be a good floor for support. Let it, see if it comes back to 43,800 and makes a bottoming formation. You're going to be rewarded for patience. I don't want to look at the RTY. It's always a dumpster fire. You're going to be rewarded for patience right now. Let's take a look at the weeklies. We've got a gap up on micro Bitcoin. Look at this range, just absolutely exponential in motion. So what do we know about exponential motion? It exhausts, all right? So what we have are buying tails below and some selling tails above, but as long as we hold higher lows, this chart is going to head north. So what's the deal? Last week, we closed almost in the same area as we did the week before. So essentially, if you bought at the open of last week, you're in the same place as if you bought at the open of week before last. So we've had 2 weeks of noise. Where is the buy formation? Down at 98 with the wicks all the way down to 94,500. Okay, there's the moving average. This looks awful sideways to me. I'd wait for steep dips to buy. If you want to sell this, have at it. But my oh my, you'll be against trend. Not that it doesn't work sometimes, but let it build a topping formation first. If you're going to short something, let it do that. Let the market tell you that it's exhausted. And all it's telling you right now is, listen, buy the dips. Buy those dips. All right, so here we are, fading off of the overnight. New high, 107 and some change, right? Moving averages right here at the 27. I don't know how important that is. The liquidity is really down here at 102. And the gap fill all the way at 102,450. All right? So that's what we're staring down. Pullbacks or buy zones. Let it fade. Look at momentum. Underneath the hull, it's trying to find an area where everybody said, yes, I'll buy. To me, it's right around here at this 102 area at the first pass. Now, do you want to trade into 102? You can, but that's super counter trend. And if I was going to do that, I would wait until a topping formation presents itself, and then that allows me to move ahead. All right, let's take a look at oil. I might need to look at the second contract here. 70.64. No, still here. Let's go to the weeklies. Oil rallied a fair bit, but have a look-see. Look at where it's been. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 weeks between 72 and 65. Something's cooking. Guess what's not lifting, folks? Momentum. Momentum is not lifting. Well, you could go, well, it's lifting a little bit. Sure, it's lifting a little bit. But as long as it's below this zero line from a stochastic level, and you've got negative trend, every single big bounce is going to get sold. Okay? Now, could a big bounce take us into 77? Potentially. But, you know, everybody's talking ceasefire. Everybody's talking, hey, what can we do to XYZ? So I think the bounces are sell zones, folks. You just can't get right in front of it. You have to wait for it to collapse. 78 is the VWAP. Sorry, the volume point of control on the weekly chart. Here it is on the hourly. Are we looking at an upward draft? Why, yes, we are. Let's look at this channel. That's ugly. Well, it kind of works. Let me swivel it so we work here and here, right? Pull it back a little, see how long the base of the channel holds. Base of the channel breaks right about there. All right, so are we in a space where buyers are coming in? Yes, I set up over 70.50. We've got to run to 71 and then 72. So far, it's stalling out at 71.50. I would look for old resistance becoming new support. You can see they're coming in at that 70, 30-ish area, but downward moving averages down to flat, downward momentum, flattening. We're going to see this kind of action, right? It's going to be a bounce and then a pullback. a bounce, and then a pullback. And so that's what we expect. I like moving in the direction of the trend, the big picture trend, and that means waiting for a topping formation like this to go short. Let's see, gold. Have we moved? Let me take a look at my other charts. 2677. Okay, perfect. So watch this. All right, on the weeklies. Oh, have I had this open the whole time? Good grief. All right. Notice where gold is holding. It's holding the center of this momentum space. This could easily be a bounce zone. 2650. All right? If it doesn't hold, folks, it's going to head to 2578 as the natural support zone. Now, does that mean it's absolutely going to do it? No, of course it doesn't. Nothing's absolute in the market. But you can see this downward momentum? And this, the double topping of this area last week, the high of last week told us from this formation, listen, this is potentially a double topping action. What did I do? Fail to hold higher, fell through support, bounced, and made a lower high. Okay, so you could have said bounced and made a lower high and taken this short, but if you saw a couple of weeks where it was holding 2654, you know it's a buy zone. So here we are. We've got a short up at 2760, a long at 2650, and very tight stops on either edges, because if it breaks, it's going to be headed higher, and if it breaks, it's going to be headed lower, right? This is not a sideways pressure event by any means. There is really solid trend here if we stare it down. Okay. Now, here we go. Sideways formations, trying to hold the bottom, value area low, 2653. Momentum, solid. Remember, what it's doing is negative trend, first pass bounce. What's it got to do? Break resistance, pull back and hold a higher low. So we are looking for a pullback that holds 2664 as a support zone if we intend to go long. Could you chase this long over here? Yes. But what normally happens when you've got downward pressure, peaking momentum, and a bottoming formation overall? You're going to see a retest of higher lows. Okay? Could it be that it comes into 2670? Yes, it could be. All right? Let's take a look at SPY. We know Mondays are the longer ones. I'm sorry. But we have to look at how the weekly formations go. We are in a top-down study design, right? We look top-down to see what's going on. Here's what we did last week. Inside, wait, is this morning? No. Inside candlestick, right, of last week. Did we break out? Absolutely. Held over 600. Did we hold the low of last week? Yes, we did. So what does that mean? Pullbacks into the low of last week. Hold until they don't. If they lose 602 and you want to go long, wait for it to recapture 602. Otherwise, it's headed to 500. And if it loses 500, it's likely headed to 595. What should happen? Look at this. Steep momentum and trend. That's telling us buyers are sitting below. There's no collapse waiting here. And if there is a sharp decline, people are going to buy it. This is not a selling formation by any means. It is a dip buying space. And if you hedge without patterns really breaking, you're going to have to pull those hedges off very quickly because they're not going to hold for you. Look at how tight the value area range is. Literally 2.5 points, 3 points. Very, very, very tight. Okay, what are we doing? Buying the bottom. Where is that? 602.80. What are we doing? Selling the top. 608. And guess what? If it starts heading out, 608.50, cut and run. Because we potentially have ourselves a Santa Claus rally. All right? Dips are buys. When you are in this kind of market formation, remember, the buying is going to be the wind at your back. Doesn't mean you can't get great intraday shorts. You just got to be quick or you're going to be dead. Remember, the 8 a.m. candlestick for ETFs, and by and large, every liquid, every very liquid stock, that 8 to 9 o'clock candlestick is going to tell you what's going on. Of course, it'd only be a couple of minutes before my voice gave on me. My gosh, I'd like to get rid of that, but whatever. Okay, so what did we do last week in the Qs? We held the low and we closed above the high. Look at this, 2 weeks ago, weekly candlestick of Maribozu. Maribozu candlestick, what does that mean? It's got no wicks. There's no shadows underneath. Incredibly bullish candlestick, dip buying galore. Now, momentum is steep, trend is solid, dips are going to buy. We've got the Fed meeting on Wednesday. Could the dips be deep? Yeah, they could. But for us as traders, if we're staring it down and we're going intraday, look at the relative trend. I mean, solid. So pullbacks into Thursday's volatility, VWAP, is 527. We've also got a liquidity line here. And could this be a double top? Potentially. But right now, it's still making higher lows and it's still making higher highs. So what's it got to do? It's got to break out, exhaust, and pull back, break support, and then bounce to give us a lower high. Now notice, here's a pullback, a bounce. The pullback turns it into a whole new buying zone. And that's because trend is up. Okay? So if you're staring this down and you're saying, I love trading the edges of these formations, you have to collapse into 5 or 15 minute events that show you a breach of a candle, a close, and then an immediate collapse into that candle that you can walk all the way down. All right? Sorry, I thought my voice would make it. It didn't. Okay, that's it. Again, remember, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to have the morning report. Monday, Wednesday, we're going to have our midday money ball for the Benzinga Pro platform. The rest of the week, I'm out, and I will have a report on the following Monday, but it's going to get super spotty after that because I'm doing a lot of train travel and all kinds of things, a lot of things I want to see up in the Swiss Alps, and we're headed to the Matterhorn, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's it. My apologies about the fuzzy beginning. I had to get a new machine, and I'll sort it out at the end. So if you're like, what is up with that fuzzy image? So more to follow there. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. I appreciate each of you that tune in all the time, and good luck with your trading day. All right, take care.